If you're doing everything right, eating clean, sleeping okay, even on hormone therapy, and your belly keeps getting bigger, your energy is crashed by noon and nothing you try moves the scale. I need you to hear this. Most ladies blame menopause. Some blame their thyroid. A lot of women blame themselves. But here's what nobody's talking about. There is a hormone your body is producing right now in response to your life, your schedule, your stress, your skipped meals that is actively telling your body to store fat, especially in your belly, especially in menopause. It is cortisol. And the way it is affecting your body right now has nothing to do with whether you feel stressed. Real quick before we dive in, I created a 2-minute quiz that identifies the exact hormonal pattern driving your symptoms. The link is in the description. Take it after this video and your result will show up right on the screen. Okay, let's get into it. Let me explain what cortisol is actually doing, because most people only hear about it in the context of stress. And while stress does raise cortisol, that's not the full picture. Cortisol is your body's primary survival hormone. It regulates your blood sugar, your energy, your immune response, and your metabolism. Every single morning, within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up, your cortisol naturally spikes. That's supposed to happen. This is what gets you up and gets you going. But here is where menopause changes everything. Before menopause, estrogen and progesterone helped buffer your cortisol response. They kept it in check. And as those hormones decline, that buffer disappears. Your cortisol becomes more reactive. It spikes higher. It stays elevated longer. And your body becomes much more sensitive to the things that trigger it. Things like skipping breakfast, under-eating, over-exercising, poor sleep, blood sugar swings, even the low-grade daily stress of just managing your life. And when cortisol stays chronically elevated, even at low levels that you might not even feel, your body does something very specific. It stores fat in your midsection first. It breaks down muscle, it disrupts your sleep, it increases your cravings for sugar and carbohydrates. And it makes it nearly impossible to lose weight no matter how little you eat. That's not a willpower problem. That's biology. Here's what's making it so frustrating. The things that are raising your cortisol are probably the things you're doing because you think that they're healthy. Skipping breakfast because you're intermittent fasting. That morning cortisol spike I mentioned, if there is no food to signal safety to your body, cortisol keeps climbing. Blood sugar crashes. Your body reads this as a threat and locks into fat storage for the rest of the day. Cutting calories aggressively when your body does not get enough fuel, it perceives this as survival threat. Cortisol goes up. Metabolism goes down. The harder you restrict, the harder your body fights back. Intense daily exercise. Exercise is not bad, but chronic high intensity exercise without enough recovery raises cortisol significantly. And a 25-year-old body with stable hormones, that recovers quickly. And a perimenopause or menopausal body, it can keep cortisol elevated for hours. And this is the part that makes women feel completely crazy. They're doing everything that they've been told to do, and their bodies keep gaining weight. And when they go back to their doctors, their labs look normal, but nothing feels normal. I had a client, we'll call her Mary, who came to me at 58 years old. Postmenopausal, on bioidentical hormones, she was eating what looked like a clean diet. Chicken, vegetables, eggs, avoiding gluten. But her weight had climbed 25 pounds in menopause, and she could not move it no matter what she tried. She was also dealing with joint pain, histamine reactions, supplement intolerances, dizziness with exercise, and blood sugar issues. Her doctors were treating each symptom separately. The histamine with a mast cell stabilizer. the blood sugar with monitoring, the hormones with estradiol and progesterone. Nobody had connected the dots. Nobody had looked at the full picture. When I looked at Mary's full picture, her labs, her symptoms, her daily eating pattern, here is what I saw. She was waking up at 7 a.m. and not eating until 9 a.m. That 2-hour window was sending her morning cortisol through the roof every day. By the time she ate, her blood sugar had already crashed and her stress hormones had already spiked. Her lab showed impaired fasting glucose and elevated cholesterol, classic signs of metabolic dysfunction driven by blood sugar dysregulation, not a hormone problem. A cortisol and blood sugar pattern that was amplifying every hormone signal in her body. And those histamine reactions, her histamine sensitivity was being driven by the blood sugar instability. When blood sugar swings, it triggers mast cell activation. Her doctors are treating the histamine, the root cause, with the cortisol and blood sugar patterns underneath it. This is what chronic cortisol dysregulation does in a menopausal body. It does not just cause belly fat. It creates a cascade. It disrupts blood sugar regulation. It amplifies histamine response. It interferes with hormone absorption. It makes your nervous system hypersensitive. And the symptoms look like 10 different problems when they're actually one pattern driving it all. I want to pause to ask you something. Have you ever gone to the doctor with a list of symptoms? Weight gain, fatigue, joint pain, cravings, poor sleep, and been told that your labs look normal? Like your body is telling you one thing and the tests are saying another. Comment yes below if that's been your experience, because you're not imagining it. And there is a reason, and it is fixable. So, what actually works when cortisol is the root driver? The first thing is eating within 60 minutes of waking. You really want to eat sooner. Not a protein bar, not just coffee with collagen, a real balanced meal with protein, fat, and fiber that signals to your body that it's safe, it's fed, and it does not need to produce more cortisol to get through the morning. That single shift changes your cortisol pattern for the entire day. The second is eating every 3 to 4 hours, not grazing. Not snacking constantly, but consistent, balanced meals that keep your blood sugar stable so cortisol never has a reason to spike in response to a crash. The third is pulling back on high-intensity exercise if you're doing it daily. This is the hardest one for most women to hear. Walking, strength training 2 or 3 times a week, yoga, these support cortisol regulation. Back-to-back intense cardio sessions in a menopause body often makes cortisol worse, not better. And fourth, and this is what most protocols completely miss, is identifying which specific pattern is driving your cortisol dysregulation. Because a woman whose cortisol is elevated from undereating needs a completely different approach than a woman whose cortisol is driven by blood sugar instability, gut inflammation, or estrogen shifts. Generic menopause advice does not work because your pattern is not generic. Your body has a specific reason it's stuck. And when you finally find that reason, everything becomes clear. Because now you're solving the right problem. This is exactly why I created the free hormone quiz in the description. It identifies your specific hormonal pattern in just 2 minutes. Whether it's cortisol dysregulation, blood sugar instability, gut inflammation, or an estrogen shift. Your result shows up right on the screen. If you've been gaining weight, feeling exhausted, and nothing's worked, this is your next step. Not another diet, not another supplement, just 2 minutes to finally understand what your body's been trying to tell you. The link's in the description. So go take it right now while you're thinking about it. And if this video helped you, share it with a woman in your life who's been struggling and feeling like nothing works. She needs to hear this. And I'll see you in the next one.